Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. I'm sprinting through my morning routine, the minutes ticking away with my heart's frantic beat. Today, of all days, I can't be late for work. A vital presentation looms, an opportunity to impress my boss and secure the promotion I've been eyeing for months. Typically, I'd take the stairs from our 10th floor apartment, relishing the burn in my legs as a free workout. But today, necessity overrides my routine, and I jab the elevator call button impatiently. As the elevator dings its arrival, I'm mentally rehearsing the key points of my presentation. The doors slide open, and I freeze, the rehearsed words dissolving into a haze of shock and disbelief. There, not even a foot away, is my wife, Lena, entangled with our neighbor, Rick. Lena's blouse is recklessly unbuttoned, revealing more than modesty permits, and Rick's hand is boldly exploring under the scant fabric. His other hand is at her waist, fingers tugging at the denim of her jeans, clearly intent on further indiscretions. For a suspended moment, they don't notice me. I stand, rooted in betrayal, watching the man I occasionally nod to in the hallway defile the sanctity of my marriage. Then Lena's eyes catch mine, widening in horror. "Mark," she gasps, scrambling to right her blouse. It's not what it looks like. But it's exactly as it looks. Rick turns, a smirk fading from his lips as he meets my stare. He steps back, hands raised in a mock surrender. "Hey buddy, this is..." "Save it," I snap, the urge to throw a punch almost overwhelming. But as my hands clench into fists, a colder, more calculating thought snakes through my anger. Physical violence would be satisfying, yet fleeting. I need a revenge that stings, one that lasts. "Mark, I'm so sorry," Lena pleads, her voice trembling. I barely hear her over the rush of adrenaline and plotting that courses through me. "Sorry doesn't even start to cover it," I reply coldly. Stepping into the elevator, I face them, the doors closing with a finality that mirrors the sudden shutdown of my heart. "You two enjoy your morning. Don't mind me, I've got a career to advance." As the elevator descends, their shocked faces are the last thing I see before the doors sever my view. My mind races, not with the shattered pieces of my trust, but with plans of retribution. This betrayal won't just be a scar, it'll be a lesson. They don't know it yet, but they've unleashed a side of me they'll regret awakening. Stepping out of the elevator, I leave behind the ruins of my personal life for now. The office awaits, and with each step, my resolve hardens. Today's presentation is no longer just about my career, it's the beginning of my revenge. As I push through the revolving doors of the high-rise that houses my office, the cool blast of air-conditioned respite hits me, momentarily washing away the turmoil of the morning. I'm no longer just Mark, the betrayed husband here. I'm Mark the marketer, poised for a pivotal moment in my career. I stride toward the elevators and punch the button more gently this time. The doors part to reveal Joan, our head of department, clutching her ever-present iPad against her designer blazer. Her sharp eyes flick up to mine, taking in my tight jaw and likely the barely concealed fury in my eyes. "Mark, you look like you're ready to sell ice to Eskimos or wage war." Hopefully it's the former, she half smiles, stepping aside to let me in. "Today it might just be both," I reply, managing a tight smile as we ascend. "I heard about your proposal. Expectations are high, you know. The VP will be in there. This could be your stepping stone to bigger things," she comments, her tone both a warning and an incentive. "Thanks, Joan, I intend to make the most of it," I assure her, feeling the weight of opportunity pressing down. Exiting the elevator, we head toward the conference room. The murmurs of my colleagues fill the space, a mixture of anticipation and routine chatter. I nod at a few of them, my mind replaying the morning's betrayal, using it as a fuel for my ambition. Inside the conference room, the air is thick with the tension of impending presentations. I set up my laptop, my slides a perfect cascade of graphics and bullet points that I know will impress. As the room fills, I spot Mike and Sarah, two colleagues I've always considered more as allies than friends. Their knowing glances tell me the news of my personal debacle has already infiltrated office gossip. Mike leans over, whispering, "Rough morning, huh? Coffee later to vent." I nod, grateful for the offer. "Thanks, Mike, I'll take you up on that." As the VP enters, a hush descends. My presentation begins, and I channel every ounce of personal betrayal into professional fervor. my voice is steady, my data compelling. The room is attentive, and I feel a surge of satisfaction as I click through slides, each one a step away from the morning's chaos. After what feels like both a moment and an eternity, I conclude. The room erupts in a measured applause, and the VP nods appreciatively. Impressive work, Mark. Let's discuss this further. Flushed with the success, I gather my things as the room empties. Sarah approaches, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Mark, that was stellar. But are you okay? Mike mentioned you might need a friend. Thanks, Sarah. It's been a complicated day, I admit, feeling the facade crack just a bit. Let's grab lunch. My treat, she offers. We can strategize your next move professionally and otherwise. As we walk to a nearby cafe, I consider how my personal vendetta might align with my professional climb. Sarah and Mike could be crucial allies. By the time we sit down, I'm ready to open up, not just about my betrayal, but about how I can leverage it to recalibrate my life and career. So Sarah begins as we order our food. Tell us everything. We're here for you and not just for office gossip. As I start to share, I feel the gears of revenge and ambition meshing. This lunch might just be the war room for my comeback, both in my personal life and at work. The cafe around us buzzes with the energy of the lunch crowd, but our table is an island of serious strategy. Sarah and Mike listen intently as I lay out the morning's shocking revelation, not sparing any detail about Lena and Rick's betrayal. As I talk, their expressions shift from shock to a kind of steely resolve that matches my own. Wow, that's brutal, Mark. But we've got your back, Mike says, his voice low, his eyes sharp with what might be anger on my behalf. Sarah nods, tapping a finger against her lips thoughtfully. This could actually be a weird sort of leverage, Mark. Think about it. You can use this to fuel your professional drive and, frankly, to get some space from Lena while deciding your next steps. What are you thinking? I lean back, the initial shock of the morning evolving into something more calculating. I'm thinking of taking on more projects, maybe even pushing for that regional manager position that's opening up. As for Lena and Rick, I need a plan that's more sophisticated than just a confrontation. That's the spirit, Mike chimes in. Keep your enemies close, right? Maybe it's time to really see what Rick is about. Could be useful. Sarah's eyes light up with a mischievous glint. What if we somehow bring Rick into a project? Get him tangled up in something complex, time-consuming? Keep him off balance and under your watch? I consider this not a bad idea. And it keeps him close enough to monitor. As for Lena, I think a little distance will make my intentions less clear, keep her guessing. We can help with that, Sarah offers. Maybe start circulating you in some new circles, get you some visibility with upper management beyond the usual. Play up the sympathetic yet resilient employee angle. Lunch arrives, but we barely acknowledge the food, our conversation deepening into the logistics of my next steps. I need evidence, I muse aloud. If things go south with Lena legally, I'll need more than just catching them in the act. Leave that to me, Mike says with a sudden grin. I've got a friend who dabbles in. Let's just say he can get information that's hard to come by. As we eat, our plan takes a more definite shape. I'll engage Rick in a new marketing project under the guise of fostering interdepartmental collaboration. Sarah will use her connections to boost my profile within the company, setting me up for opportunities to impress the higher-ups. Mark, just remember, keep your cool. Use this anger and hurt to propel yourself forward, not just for revenge but to build something better for yourself, Sarah advises seriously, her gaze steady on mine. I nod, feeling a sense of empowerment washing over the bitterness. Today changes everything I affirm, not just at home, but here, at work, in my career. I'm not just going to get even, I'm going to get ahead. We finish our lunch with a toast, coffee cups raised over the table. To new beginnings I declare, and to friends who stand by you when the ground falls away. Leaving the cafe, I feel a renewed sense of purpose. The pain of betrayal is still there, a dull ache, but now there's a plan in place, a path to potentially turn all this upheaval to my advantage. As we head back to the office, the pieces of my new life start clicking into place, each step a move in a much larger game. Weeks of meticulous planning, maneuvering, and a relentless pursuit of my goals culminate in today's unexpected climax. The office buzzes with the palpable tension of a major corporate shakeup. The regional manager position is not just a possibility, now it's within my grasp, and today, I present my final pitch to the board. Rick, drawn deep into the project I concocted, has been invaluable in his unwitting role. He believes his involvement has cemented his standing in the company, not realizing it's a scaffold I built for my own ascension and his downfall. Ready for the big day, Sarah whispers as we enter the boardroom, a line of executives seated like kings and queens in a game of chess. More than ever, I reply, my laptop under my arm like a shield, my presentation, the sword I'm ready to wield. As the presentation begins, I can feel every eye on me, the weight of scrutiny and expectation mingling in the air. Slide after slide, I lay out my vision for the region, my voice steady, my data irrefutable. The board nods, impressed, their looks telling me I've already won half the battle. Then, as planned, I turn the floor over to Rick for the financial breakdown, the intricate web of figures and forecasts we had rehearsed together. He stands, confident yet oblivious to the trap laid out for him. Thank you, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into the financials. Rick begins, clicking to the next slide. But it's not his slide. It's a detailed ledger of unauthorized transactions, discrepancies he hadn't known were there, all traced back to him. The room falls silent, every pair of eyes darting from the screen to Rick's suddenly pale face. Rick, would you care to explain these anomalies? One of the executives asks, her voice icy. Rick stammers, his composure crumbling. I don't understand. This isn't my slide. No, it's mine, I interject, stepping forward. While working closely with Rick, I noticed several irregularities. With the help of some experts, I dug a little deeper. It appears we have a significant leak in our finances directly linked to mismanagement. The word hangs heavy, accusatory. Rick tries to defend himself, but the evidence is overwhelming. Security enters the room, a silent testament to the severity of the situation. As Rick is escorted out, his bewildered gaze meets mine, but I offer no solace. With the room still reeling, I continue, turning the unfortunate discovery into a stepping stone, outlining measures to prevent such breaches in the future. My final masterstroke. As the meeting concludes, the executives express their gratitude for my vigilance. The VP approaches, a serious expression softening into something akin to admiration. Mark, your initiative has not only uncovered a critical issue but also saved us from a potential disaster. We'll need someone like you in that regional manager position. The offer is formalized soon after, and as the room clears, only Sarah and Mike remain, their smiles wide, their pride in their friend evident. We had turned a personal vendetta into a professional victory. Who would have thought? From heartbreak comes a new beginning, Mike says, clapping me on the shoulder. Yeah, I reply, my thoughts drifting momentarily back to Lena. I hadn't seen her since that day in the elevator. She had moved out shortly after, the silence between us loud and final. As I pack up my things, my phone vibrates a message from Lena. Heard about your promotion, I guess you won. Take care, Mark. I stare at the screen for a long moment, then pocket the phone. Yes, I had won, in more ways than one, but at what cost? Come on, boss, Sarah jokes, interrupting my thoughts. Let's celebrate. Today we rewrite the future. Leaving the boardroom, I realize that this victory, though sweet, is also a reminder of everything I've lost and gained. The game was over, but the lessons remain, a blueprint for the future I'm about to build.